Hello, YouTube. We're back with another iteration of our Reality Check YouTube channel. And today we've got a little more info, a little behind the curve. Took a day off yesterday, but we've got another drop of Twitter files to go through. Uh, I don't know if this is going to be the last iteration, but it's the sixth iteration, and we just keep getting more and more information as far as how deep this whole conspiracy goes. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. All right, here we are back with Matt Taibbi again. This is thread number 1. It says the Twitter files, part 6, Twitter, the FBI subsidiary. Number 2, the Twitter files are revealing more every day about how the government collects, analyzes, and flags your social media content. Twitter's contact with the FBI was consistent and pervasive, as if it were a subsidiary. Between January 2020 and November 2022, there were over 150 emails between the FBI and former Twitter Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. So in a matter of 2 years, you got 150 archived emails, right, of those guys talking in the back channels. It says some are mundane, like San Francisco agent Elvis Chan, San Francisco agent. Not a coincidence there. You know, that's Nancy Pelosi's, isn't that Nancy Pelosi's district, San Francisco? San Francisco agent Elvis Chan wishing Roth a Happy New Year, along with a reminder to attend our quarterly call next week. Others are requests for information into Twitter users related to active investigations. So not only have they got 150 emails, they've got a quarterly call, which Lord only knows what's going on in that meeting. And these are requests for information, not a subpoena, a request. So are they just giving out your data? Seems to me like that's most likely the case. What kind of corporation or kind of public entity would share your information like that? Imagine your bank did that. Everybody be up in arms, right? Now here's the difference. There's a big difference as far as what they're getting access to, but that's not the point. The point is you're supposed to have a right to privacy in this country, and you obviously don't. It says 6, but a surprisingly high number are requests by the FBI for Twitter to take action on election misinformation. In other words, information they don't agree with, even involving joke tweets from low follower accounts. The FBI's social media focused task force known as FTIF, right? See, they made their own little acronym. So this was intentional. Don't crap yourself. They don't bother going through all this mess without having some kind of intent behind it. Created in the wake of the 2016 election, swelled to 80 agents, and corresponded with Twitter to identify alleged foreign influence and election tampering of all kinds. Except they didn't catch any of the ballot harvesting. They didn't catch any of this other corruption that went on, you know, voting outside the legislature, right, for example, in certain key swing states. There's plenty of irregularities to go around, no matter what they tell you. And don't let your lying eyes deceive you. If you're paying attention, you know that there was a lot of fishy crap going on around these elections. It says number 8, federal intelligence and law enforcement reach into Twitter. Law enforcement's reach into Twitter included the Department of Homeland Security, which partnered with security contractors and think tanks to pressure Twitter to moderate content. So what's this tell you in a nutshell? The Department of Homeland Security, right, was pressuring Twitter to moderate content. So was it Twitter that censored you, or is it the federal damn government? Number 9, it's no secret the government analyzes bulk data for all sorts of purposes. Everything from tracking terror suspects to making economic forecasts. And this right here, this terror suspects, right? This is where it all ties together, right? Our government has a horrible habit of anybody that disagrees with the ruling class in our government of calling them terrorists, right? They've labeled Trump supporters just for calling out the corruption in our own government as terror suspects or terrorists in certain circumstances. You know, these people are corrupt, about as corrupt as they come, from what I can tell. Number 10, the Twitter files show something new. Agencies like the FBI and DHS were regularly sending social media content to Twitter through multiple entry points, pre-flagged for moderation. So they're just sending them examples of exactly what they want them to flag, to censor. They call for moderation. It's censorship, flagged for censorship. That's just another one of those words they use, like we talked on the last video, where they use a different word to mean the same thing just to deflect what their actual intent is. Number 11, what stands out is the sheer quantity of reports from the government. Some are aggregated from public hotlines. Example right here. FBI El Paso, Election Day protocol for FBI headquarters is to stand up a national election command post, which provides a centralized location for addressing election-related threats. Status reports and complaints are tracked. Have a tip, send it to this number, right? So they're acting like they're out here trying to protect the elections when they're actually doing the exact opposite. Number 12, an unanswered question: do agencies like the FBI and DHS do in-house flagging work themselves or farm it out? You have to prove to me that inside the effing government you can do any kind of massive data or AI search, says one former intelligence officer. And again, it's one former intelligence officer that they don't name. Like I said, to be fair, I've always got problems with that type of reporting. Name them. You notice how they'll name all these people that were banned or whatever, right? At least their online identities. But they never go out, they never tell you which exact FBI agents were involved. Now, why is that? Why do they just keep getting away with it? So, okay, this one says, hello, Twitter contacts. The master canine quality of the FBI's relationship to Twitter comes through in this November 2022 email, in which FBI San Francisco is notifying you it wants action on 4 accounts. It's this Jonathan Wade from MA, Mad and Pissed Off, and Malt Thomas. Best regards, Fred, FBI San Francisco. So whoever Fred is, probably better preserve his documents. Why the heck they don't use their own? They talk about all this anonymous crap happening online, right? Oh, you shouldn't be allowed to maintain anonymity online, but look what this guy's doing. These guys are spies and they're maintaining their anonymity online. What's the difference? Number 14, Twitter personnel in that case went on to look for reasons to suspend all 4 accounts, including at this guy here, at Froma. Haven't heard of him before. Retired curmudgeon and righteously irritated, armchair defender of good, shoveling sand of good against the continuous tide of assholery, world-class wise ass. So somebody's out there trolling these clowns for what they are. Those tweets are almost all jokes. See sample below, including his civic misinformation of November 8th. All right, and we'll look into this here a bit. It says, thanks, Patrick. I escalated to get for a list pass on Thursday, November, blah, 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 blah. FBI folks, I reviewed this already from the TD perspective, Truth Department perspective, I imagine, Twitter Department's perspective or whatever, and suspended 3 of the accounts for multi-account abuse and ban evasion violations. Rodrigo, could you please review from MA for possible civic misinformation or direct to the appropriate part of GET for their review, whatever GET is. Thanks, Patrick. All right. And this was November 10th of 2022. That's not that long ago. That's like a month ago. A little less than a month ago, actually. So this must have been right before the buyout, I would imagine. I don't remember exactly what day Elon bought him out, but next one. And this is the tweet that got him taken down. It says, I want to remind Republicans to vote tomorrow, Wednesday, November 9th. Right? An obvious joke. Everybody knows that voting day is on Tuesday. You know what I mean? If you ain't figured that part out, you probably shouldn't be voting to start with. But obvious satire, right? Being used to justify a ban. When they could have just as easily put something over it saying, hey, fact check, this is election days on Tuesday or whatever. But they can't, that side fundamentally cannot take a joke. And you can't, a lot of times you can't understand whether something's a joke or not just coming through text, right? Things can be misconstrued as either threat to some kind of threat to violence or some kind of misinformation or some kind of deal, and it might just be a joke because you can't always make that go through text. Anybody that's ever texted knows it's been taken out of context at least once in their life, I'm sure. And had to clarify it, you know. down the line there. Number 16, anyone who cannot discern obvious satire from reality has no place in making decisions for others or working for the feds, said Claire Foster, PhD, when told about the flagging. This Claire Foster is an anti-extremist, a Maoist centralist, board-certified astrologist, and was a Clinton Harris 2024 guy, right? So obviously a liberal, left-leaning person, and it's still not okay with it, right? Number 17, of the 6 accounts mentioned in the previous 2 emails, all but 2, Claire Foster, PhD, and Brahma were suspended. All but these 2, right? Okay, the one we just talked about, and then the doctor, the alleged doctor here. Let's see. Number 18, in an internal email from November 5th, 2022, the FBI's National Elections Command Post, which compiles and sends on complaints, sent the San Francisco field office a long list of accounts that may warrant additional action. Let's see if we recognize anybody on the list. They like making lists, don't they? You know who else likes to make lists, right? It says the National Election Command Post, NECP, is requesting assistance from San Fran regarding coordination with Twitter. Specifically, NECP has been made aware of tweets by certain accounts that may warrant additional action due to the accounts being utilized to spread misinformation about the upcoming election. Specifically, NECP is requesting the following. 1. Coordination between SF and Twitter to determine whether the accounts identified below have violated Twitter's terms of service and may be subject to any actions deemed appropriate by Twitter. I'm just going to stop it right there, right? Because who do these people think they are? I mean, seriously. These are people that are supposedly constitutionally sworn to protect our rights. And what are they doing? Coordinating behind the scenes in conjunction with bunch of political hacks to do the exact opposite. In my mind, they're all seditionists. They swore an oath and they're doing the exact opposite. That's not sedition. I don't know what the hell is, or treason if you want to use the big T word. Whatever it is, it's corruption. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know exactly how to label it, but it's anti-American for sure. Here's the accounts that were nailed. It's Dartful Codger, Dr. Andrew Jackson, Dan Darius, 2020 MTB, Gene Gary 13. The notable one right here, RSBN Network. Now, why is that so notable? For those of you that don't know, RSBN Network was basically the only network that would actually air Trump's live rallies towards the coming up to the election, right? Because all the rest of the mainstream media were crickets, just like they've been with the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? They just it's a lie by omission. They just don't report on it, or they just do a media blackout, so it's called, right? Let's keep on going here, right? We got David K. Loy, Ron Smith with a bunch of numbers, A. Scott Honeycutt, the Armo Gidaship, David Cloy. See if there's any other notables down here. A Trump one, a CAG one. Billy Baldwin, there's another notable one, right? You got Michael P., Brett Barker, Warren in Toronto. So that's basically the list of the guys they wanted silenced because they were dangerously spreading misinformation, right? Number 19, Agent Chan passed the list on his Twitter. Agent Chan passed the list on to his Twitter folks. Right? There's email fucking confirming that. Twitter then replied with its list of actions taken. Note, mercy shown to actor Billy Baldwin. So what they did is they made up some crap and temporarily banned these guys for some kind of spam behavior, whatever the hell that means, and then had tweets bounced for civic misinformation policy violations, right? The rest of these guys. It's just, there's no, even when they make up the rules, they don't apply them equally. Number 21, many of the above accounts were satirical in nature, nearly all, with the exception of Baldwin and RSBN Network. were relatively low engagement, and some were suspended, most with a generic "Thanks Twitter" letter. So you basically have the FBI colluding with Twitter to silence the only outlet that Trump had to get his message out right ahead of the election by censoring RSBN network, right? It's not like they did it in the middle, like it's not like they did it right after the midterms. They did it right before it, which is direct election interference, if you ask me. I don't know what else you'd call it. Let's see here. Number 22. When I told the FBI flagging at this person, Dr. Jimmy and Mr. Jim, right, replied, my thoughts initially included: 1, it seems like prima facie First Amendment violation. Number 2, holy cow, me, an account with the reach of an amoeba. 3, what else are they looking at? Right. Number 23, I can't believe the FBI is policing jokes on Twitter. That's crazy, said Tiberius444. And that's this guy here, the master of all things, weird, because I said so, don't ask questions, just do what I tell you, right? Got about 1,500 followers, not a huge account, not a small, not a baby account, not a huge account, right? Number 24, in a letter to former Deputy General Counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker. Here we go again, back to Jim Baker, which we've been through this rigmarole before, this clown, right? On September 16th, 2022, legal execs Stacia Cardilli, I'm sure I butchered that name, outlines results from her soon-to-be weekly meeting with DHS, DOJ, FBI, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. So you've got DHS, DOJ, FBI, and the Office of DNI, right? 4 government agencies, all guilty of this crap. They're all coordinating, they're all communicating in between each other, and then ain't nobody policing their own. There's not one agency policing the other. And that in and of itself is the crux of the problem. It's the same problem I have with a lot of, our side keeps continually pushing the whole thing of back the blue. And I'll tell you what, if there's the good cops out here that are constitutionally sworn that uphold the oaths, I back them 1,000%. But the ones out here that don't, and the ones that are crooked like these FBI scumbags, I don't back them at all. Not one bit. And it makes me not want to back the good ones, because the good ones don't hold the bad ones accountable. And that's the entire crux of the whole policing problem we've got in this country. Number 25, the Twitter exec writes, she explicitly asked if there were impediments to the sharing of classified information with industry. The answer, the FBI was adamant, no impediments to sharing exist. So you got, did I just read that right? The Twitter exec writes, she explicitly asked if there were any impediments to the sharing of classified information. So are you telling me the FBI was sharing classified information with the industry, aka Twitter? The answer, the FBI was adamant, no impediments to sharing exist. So they just think they can declassify whatever the hell they want and share it with whoever the hell they want? Under what authority? They're not a declassifying authority. The FBI is not. The President of the United States is. And they raided his damn home in Mar-a-Lago for keeping records of things that he declassified. It's insanity. Number 26, this passage underscores a unique one big happy family vibe between Twitter and the FBI. With what other firm would the FBI blithely agree to no impediments to classified information? One big happy family, that's a great way of describing it. That's what it sounds like. All buddy-buddy, weren't they? Number 27, at the bottom of the letter, she lists a series of escalations apparently raised at the meeting, which were already handled. Number 28, now who the hell is she? Maybe we'll get more context for a minute. Number 28, about one, she writes, flagged a specific tweet on Illinois' use of modems to transmit election results and possible violation of the civic integrity policy. Except they do use that tech in limited circumstances. Well, isn't that close to home? You realize that everything that's, even in the state of Illinois, right? Which, by the way, get you ready for no cash bail here coming the first of the year. If you're not aware of that, that's going to be exciting. If you don't have your 2A covered, I suggest you get on it real freaking fast. But everybody knows that anything that's attached to the internet can be hacked, right? Literally every department, every governmental department in the last 4 years has been hacked by either foreign actors or domestic actors. I don't know who all has been doing the hacking, but there's been widely reported reports on all these government agencies getting hacked. How many people have ever had their bank cards hacked? I guarantee everybody listening to this has at least once. But we want to run our elections through the internet. And tell me how that makes sense. It only makes sense one way. It's not the way it should. Number 29, another internal letter from January 2021 shows Twitter execs processing an FBI list of possible violative content tweets. So basically, the FBI is just sitting here. They're basically using your taxpayer money to fund these guys to sit there and go through Twitter to freaking try to steer public narrative. They're trying to manipulate the people from behind the scenes. Because it's, what do you call that besides social engineering in a horrible way? They're trying to make a cover story to make all this crap seem legitimate. Number 30, here too, most tweets contain the same. Get out there and vote Wednesday trope and had low engagement. This is what the FBI spends its time on. That's kind of like what I was just saying, right? Why are they wasting their time on this when the stinking border, we got a damn borderline invasion coming through the southern border with the immigration crisis going on down there, right? You got fentanyl coming over here killing people in record numbers. You got all this violence in all these big cities, and they're worried about mean tweets. Make that make sense, because I can't. Number 31. In this March 2021 email, an FBI liaison thanks a senior Twitter exec for the chance to speak to you and the team, then delivers a packet of products. I think that's maybe the end of the thread. Nope, there's more. Right. Number 32, the executive circulates the product, which are really DHS bulletins stressing the need for greater collaboration between law enforcement and private sector partners. So DHS is the one back there behind the scenes point. The same DHS that's leaving the daggone border wide the hell open. They're letting record amounts of illegal immigrants come across our border. Now, don't get me wrong, I've got no problem with immigration if you do it the right way, right? You go through the process like every other legal citizen has. But if you think you can jump the line and just come across, and the first thing you do coming into this country is to violate our laws, and that you just get a slap on the wrist, I don't agree with that at all. That's just incentivizing crap. And it's basically the government, you got the DHS back here trying to control public narrative at the same time they're ignoring the real world problems. It's disgusting. These people are disgusting. 33. The ubiquity of the 2016 Russian interference story has stated pretext for building out the censorship machine. Can't be overstated. It's analogous, to how 9/11 inspired the expansion of the security state. Here we go again. What do we get after 9/11? The Patriot Act. And what did the Patriot Act do? If you know, hit me up in the comments. I want to see who's paying attention. I'll give you the answer here in a few seconds. But if you know, now's your time. Get down in the comments and tell me if you know exactly what the Patriot Act did. If you're not aware, you need to look into it. But the long and short of it is, it eliminated your right to the Fourth. It eliminated your Fourth Amendment right. It subverted your Fourth Amendment right, and nobody's challenged it on either side. No Republican, no Democrat, none of them. Your right to privacy. That's why when you get on your phone and you've been having a conversation about some random thing, and then it tries to sell you that random thing, that's the Patriot Act. They're listening and watching every single move we make on every device that's got a camera on it, or it's got a damn has a damn microphone on it. They are listening all the time. It's reality. We live in a damn police state since that mess. all under the guise that it's for national security, right? Because some terrorist might come over here and do something bad, right? They used the fear event of 9/11 to get us to give up some of our rights, just like they did with this fear event from this COVID crap, right? The virus wasn't great. It wasn't good. It was very hard on a lot of people. In the same instance, the reaction and the fear reaction and the constant media cycle of every day, X number of people have died, X number of people have gone to the hospital, X number of people are getting sick, only drove the fear. And actually, that fear, being put in that fear state can actually, according to some doctors, actually lower your immune system. Your body does what the mind tells it, right? So if you put the body in a state of fear, that's part of their plans. These people are evil. Number 34, while the DHS is in its products, PAN's permissive social media for offering operational advantages to Russians, it also explains that the domestic violent extremist threat requires addressing information gaps. So they just block stuff and they don't even have the full context, right? What I gained from that. Number 35, FBI in one case sent over so many possible violative content reports, Twitter personnel congratulated each other in Slack for the monumental undertaking of reviewing them. Number 36, there were multiple points of entry into Twitter for government-flagged reports. This letter from Agent Chan to Roth references Teleporter, a platform through which Twitter could receive reports from the FBI. So they're setting up their own little, they even got their own little computer program to run a back channel to them so they can just, the amount of coordination in this just proves their intent in my mind. It's my opinion, based on what I'm seeing. The FBI needs to be restructured, if not completely dismantled at this point. Number 37, reports also came from the different agencies. Here an employee recommends bouncing content based on evidence from DHS, etc. All right, just another example of their pulling their crap. It says 38, state governments also flag content. Oh, really? Number 39, Twitter, for instance, received reports via the Partner Support Portal, an outlet created by the Center for Internet Security, a partner organization to the DHS. So basically, these little crybaby liberals get on here and get offended by words, and then they're going to use the weight of the government to go cry about it. And so the government wants to come in and make a safe space for these crybabies because they can't communicate like adults without having somebody be their bully. It's Karen. It's like internet Karen is what it is. They're acting like internet Karens. Number 40. Why was no action taken? Below, Twitter execs receiving an alert from California officials by way of her partner support portal debate whether to act on the Trump tweet. Yeah, let's look at that one. It says on Trump's tweet, California hired a pure Sleepy Joe Democrat firms to account and harvest votes. No way Republicans get a fair shake. Lawyers get started. GOP leader California is in big trouble. Vote Trump and watch the greatest comeback of them all. Also, New York and Illinois, go for it. Okay. I guess they were wanting to somehow silence that one too. They want to silence anything that doesn't fit their narrative. That's the whole issue. This is not about what's right and wrong. It's about them maintaining their control over the narrative. That's what they do with this media, whether it's social media, whether it's the damn television telling you lies on ABC, NBC, even Fox, CNN. All those channels are doing one thing. They're trying to brainwash you and trying to get you to see things from their perspective instead of thinking for yourself with all the relevant facts. And that's fundamentally it's corrupt. All right, 41. Here, a video was reported by the Election Integrity Project, EIP, at Stanford. There we go, another college sticking their nose in crap, right? We've kind of hinted at what these colleges are known for, right? Apparently on the strength of information from the Center for Internet Security. 42. If that is confusing, it's because the CIS and DHS contractor describes itself as partners with the Cyber and Internet Security Agency, CISA, at the DHS. Now, these guys are all partners, and this whole CISA, you remember them giving the report of we had the most safe and secure election in American history, and the amount of people that just flat out laughed in their face even having the balls to say that. They're all connected. All these agencies are connected. It's all one big deep state swamp. That's what these agencies are. They're not. These are not your. These are not your county sheriffs that are constitutionally sworn. These are not your military that are constitutionally sworn and have UCMJ or Uniform Code of Military Justice, double jeopardy. These guys don't have any of that. They have zero oversight, and that's the entire problem. The entire problem. If they're corrupt at the top, they're corrupt all the way down. And based on what I've seen from Chris Wray, they're corrupt all the way down. Or at least, I'm sure there's people out there that are acting in good faith, but I haven't met any of them yet, except for maybe a couple of the whistleblowers that have remained anonymous. Number 43. The EIP is one of a series of government-affiliated think tanks that mass review content, a list that also includes the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Laboratory and the University of Washington's Center for Informed Policy. 44. The takeaway. What most people think of as the deep state is really a tangled collaboration of state agencies, private contractors, and sometimes state-funded non-government organizations. The lines become so blurred as to be meaningless. So this is number 45. Twitter files researchers are moving into a variety of new areas now. Watch at Barry Weiss and at Schellenberger in this space for more soon. So they're not done yet, but I think this post right here, that 44, kind of sums it up pretty good. The takeaway: what most people think of as the deep state is really a tangled collaboration of state agencies, private contractors, and sometimes state-funded NGOs. The lines become so blurred as to be meaningless. Sounds like a conspiracy to me, and not a conspiracy theory. Sounds to me more like a criminal conspiracy to deprive people of their rights to free speech. It's one thing if a private company's doing that, right? Those are their terms of service, right? It's a complete another ballgame when you've got the federal government, specifically the letter agencies, coming in behind the scenes trying to leverage them under threat. Because when the government asks you to do something, they don't really ask you to do anything. If you don't cooperate with them, they will make you do what they want you to do. And if you ain't figured that out, you haven't ever dealt with the government. So this whole thing to me is just disgusting, and it's a damn shame that I'm not real confident we're going to get justice out of this mess. But hopefully I'm wrong. Let's see here. Let's go back full screen. But it's pretty deep involved, and like I said, if you guys want to get in here and get a little more in depth into it, it's Matt Taibbi again on Twitter. If you can't get on Twitter, it's being covered everywhere. The mainstream media has already covered a lot of this, but I thought it'd be relevant to go through and actually read line by line because a lot of those reports I've been seeing have been kind of cherry picking as far as what's in it and what's not. I thought I'd just get on here and kind of walk through them and give you the full context. That way you can make up your own mind. I'm not in the business of trying to tell you what to think, but I can sure as hell kick on the information and let you make up your own mind. But I guess until next time, stay safe out there and keep your head on a swivel, like I always say. Watch out for each other and be good to each other. Till later. Next time. Bye.